Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. A fact or assertion offered as evidence that something is true. It was a strong argument that his hypothesis was true. A discussion in which reasons are advanced for and against some proposition or proposal. The argument over foreign aid goes on and on. A summary of the subject or plot of a literary work or play or movie. The editor added the argument to the poem. A contentious speech act. A dispute where there is strong disagreement. They were involved in a violent argument. Computer science. A reference or value that is passed to a function, procedure, subroutine, command, or program. A variable in a logical or mathematical expression whose value determines the dependent variable. If f, x, equals y, x is the independent variable. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. A discussion in which reasons are advanced for and against some proposition or proposal. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. I can't follow your line of reasoning. A slight depression or fold in the smoothness of a surface. His face has many lines. Mechanical system in a factory whereby an article is conveyed through sites at which successive operations are performed on it. A connected series of events or actions or developments. Historians can only point out those lines for which evidence is available. The road consisting of railroad track and roadbed. A conceptual separation or distinction. There is a narrow line between sanity and insanity. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A conductor for transmitting electrical or optical signals or electric power. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. He's not in my line of business. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Draw a line. Often plural, a means of communication or access. Lines of communication were set up between the two firms. The descendants of one individual. His entire lineage has been warriors. Space for one line of print, 1 column wide and 1/14 inch deep, used to measure advertising. A short personal letter. Drop me a line when you get there. A telephone connection. Be in line with, form a line along. Trees line the riverbank. The maximum credit that a customer is allowed. A particular kind of product or merchandise. A nice line of shoes. A pipe used to transport liquids or gases. A pipeline runs from the wells to the seaport. A commercial organization serving as a common carrier. Acting in conformity. In line with. A formation of people or things one behind another. The line stretched clear around the corner. A formation of people or things one beside another. The line of soldiers advanced with their bayonets fixed. A fortified position, especially one marking the most forward position of troops. They attacked the enemy's line. A length, straight or curved, without breadth or thickness, the trace of a moving point. A mark that is long relative to its width. He drew a line on the chart. A single frequency, or very narrow band, of radiation in a spectrum. A spatial location defined by a real or imaginary unidimensional extent. Cover the interior of. Line the gloves. Fill plentifully. Line one's pockets. In games or sports, a mark indicating positions or bounds of the playing area. Mark with lines. Sorrow had lined his face. Persuasive but insincere talk that is usually intended to deceive or impress. Let me show you my etchings as a rather worn line. Reinforce with fabric. Lined books are more enduring. Something, as a cord or rope, that is long and thin and flexible. A washing line. Text consisting of a row of words written across a page or computer screen. The letter consisted of 3 short lines. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. I can't follow your line of reasoning. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. Computer science. A line of code written as part of a computer program. A fact or assertion offered as evidence that something is true. A document showing credits and debits. The act of affirming or asserting or stating something. A message that is stated or declared. A communication, oral or written, setting forth particulars or facts, etc. According to his statement, he was in London on that day. A nonverbal message. A Cadillac makes a statement about who you are. Music, the presentation of a musical theme. The initial statement of the sonata. A discussion in which reasons are advanced for and against some proposition or proposal. Have an argument about something. Think about carefully, weigh. The formal presentation of a stated proposition and the opposition to it, usually followed by a vote. Discuss the pros and cons of an issue. Argue with one another. We debated the question of abortion. A summary of the subject or plot of a literary work or play or movie. A contentious speech act. A dispute where there is strong disagreement. A contentious speech act. A dispute where there is strong disagreement. The act of competing as for profit or a prize. The teams were in fierce contention for first place. A point asserted as part of an argument. A contentious speech act. A dispute where there is strong disagreement. A contentious speech act. A dispute where there is strong disagreement. A contentious speech act. A dispute where there is strong disagreement. A contentious speech act. A dispute where there is strong disagreement. The formal presentation of a stated proposition and the opposition to it, usually followed by a vote. A combat between 2 mounted knights tilting against each other with blunted lances. Move sideways or in an unsteady way. Pitching dangerously to one side. Heel over. The tower is tilting. A contentious speech act. A dispute where there is strong disagreement. The property possessed by a line or surface that departs from the vertical. The tower had a pronounced tilt. To incline or bend from a vertical position. A slight but noticeable partiality. The court's tilt toward conservative rulings. Charge with a tilt. A constant in the equation of a curve that can be varied to yield a family of similar curves. Computer science. A reference or value that is passed to a function, procedure, subroutine, command, or program. Any factor that defines a system and determines, or limits, its performance. A quantity, such as the mean or variance, that characterizes a statistical population and that can be estimated by calculations from sample data. Thinking that is coherent and logical. Thinking that is coherent and logical. Thinking that is coherent and logical. Endowed with the capacity to reason. Provide evidence for. Provide evidence for. Stand as proof of. Show by one's behavior, attitude, or external attributes. Give evidence. Your basis for belief or disbelief. Knowledge on which to base belief. The evidence that smoking causes lung cancer is very compelling. An indication that makes something evident. His trembling was evidence of his fear. Law. All the means by which any alleged matter of fact whose truth is investigated at judicial trial is established or disproved. The divine Word of God. The second person in the Trinity, incarnate in Jesus. Information about recent and important events. An exchange of views on some topic. We had a word or two about it. A secret word or phrase known only to a restricted group. He forgot the password. The sacred writings of the Christian religions. A promise. He gave his word. Put into words or an expression. A brief statement. He didn't say a word about it. A string of bits stored in computer memory. Large computers use words up to 64 bits long. A unit of language that native speakers can identify. Words are the blocks from which sentences are made. A verbal command for action. When I give the word, charge. An exchange of views on some topic. We had a good discussion. An extended communication, often interactive, dealing with some particular topic. The book contains an excellent discussion of modal logic. Mutual interaction. The activity of reciprocating or exchanging, especially information. An exchange of views on some topic. Light teasing repartee. A brief statement that presents the main points in a concise form. Briefly giving the gist of something. A summary formulation of a wide-ranging subject. A brief statement that presents the main points in a concise form. He gave a summary of the conclusions. Performed speedily and without formality. A summary execution. A variation that deviates from the standard or norm. The number that remains after subtraction. The number that when added to the subtrahend gives the minuend. A disagreement or argument about something important. There were irreconcilable differences. A significant change. The difference in her is amazing. The quality of being unlike or dissimilar. There are many differences between jazz and rock. Go against, as of rules and laws. This behavior conflicts with our rules. An open clash between two opposing groups, or individuals. The harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. A hostile meeting of opposing military forces in the course of a war. A disagreement or argument about something important. The familiar conflict between Republicans and Democrats. An incompatibility of dates or events. He noticed a conflict in the dates of the two meetings. A state of opposition between persons or ideas or interests. His conflict of interest made him ineligible for the post. Be in conflict. The two proposals conflict. Opposition between two simultaneous but incompatible feelings. He was immobilized by conflict and indecision. Opposition in a work of drama or fiction between characters or forces, especially an opposition that motivates the development of the plot. This form of conflict is essential to man's writing. Coming into conflict with. Take exception to. A disagreement or argument about something important. He had a dispute with his wife. Have a disagreement over something. A disagreement or argument about something important. Regard highly. Think much of. Music. The relative duration of a musical note. Hold dear. Estimate the value of. The amount, of money or goods or services, that is considered to be a fair equivalent for something else. He tried to estimate the value of the produce at normal prices. Evaluate or estimate the nature, quality, ability, extent, or significance of. An ideal accepted by some individual or group. He has old-fashioned values. A numerical quantity measured or assigned or computed. The value assigned was 16 milliseconds. Fix or determine the value of. Assign a value to. Value the jewelry and artwork in the estate. Relative darkness or lightness of a color. I establish the colors and principal values by organizing the painting into three values: dark, medium and light. The quality, positive or negative, that renders something desirable or valuable. The Shakespearean Shylock is of dubious value in the modern world. Computer science. The code that identifies where a piece of information is stored.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.